بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. أما بعد. Welcome, brothers and sisters, to the second sitting of our lessons in the explanation of عوائق الطلب للشيخ عبد السلام بن برجس رحمه الله تعالى, the obstacles in the path of knowledge by Shaykh Abd al-Salam ibn Barjis. In the first sitting, we discussed the first 5 points, the first 5 matters that act as obstacles and barriers or deterrents in the path of knowledge. And inshallah ta'ala, in this sitting, the next 5 points, 6 to 10, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And so the 6th obstacle in the path of knowledge is conceitedness, vanity, and arrogance. Is that one have this feeling of conceitedness and cockiness, and that they believe they are better than others, and that they are above others because they've sought some knowledge, and that they've attained some knowledge. And so disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we mentioned previously, as in terms of sins and how they affect knowledge and how they prevent one from seeking knowledge or from benefiting from knowledge. Disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is an obstacle that inhibits attaining Islamic knowledge, because knowledge is the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is placed in the hearts of whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills from his servants. And light and darkness cannot be combined in one heart. The nur, light and darkness cannot be combined in one heart. And so for this reason, Ibn Mas'ud, as we mentioned previously, he said, "Truly I believe that a man forgets knowledge that he has learned due to the sins that he committed." And may Allah have mercy upon Ash-Shafi'i, who said in his famous lines of poetry, I complained to Waqi' about my poor memory, and he directed me to abandon sins. So Imam al-Shafi'i was experiencing in a particular time period that he could not retain the knowledge that he was learning. And so he went to his Shaykh, Waqi', and Waqi' advised him to abandon sins. He informed me that knowledge is light, and the light of Allah is not given to someone who is disobedient. And certainly the ugliest of what a student of knowledge might be involved in terms of sins, as it pertains to the matter of seeking knowledge, even though all sins are ugly and detestable, is being arrogant and being cocky and being conceited as it pertains to the knowledge that you have attained, which causes a person to have contempt towards another person. Maybe student of knowledge, maybe someone from the awam, maybe even towards the scholars, and feel like they are above other people. And when they walk, they strut. And you see the kibr in even the way they walk, and the way they speak, and the way they behave. And they speak theatrically whenever talking, in addition to other than that, from the characteristics of the one who is amazed with himself. You find them that they do not speak or behave naturally in gatherings, that they are inclined to show off when it suits them or in particular scenarios and circumstances, that they'll mention lines of poetry here and there when the time does not call for it, that they'll mention ayat and trying to prove their memory when the time is not appropriate. And so any opportunity they get to show off whatever ilm that they may have studied or whatever knowledge that they may have memorized, they wish to show that to the people. And with the intention of showing that they are above others, that they are more knowledgeable than others. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden this type of attitude and this type of behavior. Where He said, and do not walk through the earth exultantly, maraha, yani in the way that you walk, in a way of strutting. It's not a natural walk. It is a walk of arrogance. And the term marah, in marah, when we say maraha, which has been translated as exultantly, it means to strut arrogantly. It means that there is a sort of a strut with your head held high, trying to show that you are above others. And in the two authentic collections in Al-Bukhari and Muslim, there's a hadith on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, whereby he said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, while a man was walking in a garment that he was amazed with. There was an individual walking, wearing a particular garment that he was amazed with. His head held high, strutting while walking. Allah caused the earth to swallow him, so he will continue to sink down into the earth until the day of resurrection. So this happened to a man at the time. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu is mentioning this 1400 years ago. And due to his arrogance and due to the way that he was walking, that the earth opened up and swallowed this individual, and he is falling and sinking up until the day of judgment. Up until the day of judgment. Ibn al-Jawzi rahimahullah said, the best of things is to increase in knowledge, since the one who restricts himself to what he already knows and thinks that it is sufficient has stubbornly clung on his own opinion until his amazement with himself has prevented him from benefiting. Meaning when you learn a certain amount of knowledge, and then you believe now that you've attained knowledge, and that you become arrogant and are showing off, and you believe you are better than others, Ibn Jawzi is saying that you continue to seek knowledge, and that you do not become sufficient with a small portion of knowledge, but the one who does that, who believes that they've attained all that there is to attain in terms of knowledge, then that is someone who is amazed with himself. Someone who is amazed with himself and has prevented himself from benefiting. In reality, this is someone who has become an obstacle for himself. That he himself has become the obstacle for attaining ilm. He also said, nevertheless, the man who suffices himself with what he knows, whenever he mixes with others, is a type of vision of himself that prevents him from realizing what is correct. And we seek refuge in Allah from that. What Ibn Jawzi means by that is that when you are in a gathering, let's say with brothers, and that different topics are being discussed, that you always stick to your opinion. You believe you're right in all cases. This attitude that you have will cause you not to benefit from others. That when brothers or sisters are sitting together discussing matters of ilm, that there is a give and take, that you share beneficial knowledge amongst one another. But if you are only pleased with your opinion, what you believe to be what is correct, rejecting anything else that anyone else says, then this is proof that you are only amazed with your opinion and only amazed with yourself. Ali ibn Thabit was truthful when he said in his lines of poetry, Ali ibn Thabit was truthful when he said in his lines of poetry, the ill effects of knowledge are arrogance and anger, and the ill effects of wealth are wastefulness and robbery. The ill effects of knowledge is arrogance and anger. That is the shahid here, that the ill effects of knowledge, meaning that which is negative, that which will harm your knowledge, is having anger, constant anger, and arrogance, where you believe you are better than others. Sufyani, rahimahullah ta'ala, said, it is appropriate for the scholar to put dirt on his head out of humility towards Allah, in a way of humbling himself, And they said the humble one from the students of knowledge is the one with the most knowledge, just as the place that is the lowest collects the most water. As we know, that if the land is flat, that not much water will remain there. But if the earth is lower, then it will retain more water. And he is likening that to the one who is humble, the one who lowers himself to others, and doesn't believe that he is above others, that they will attain and retain more knowledge than the one who is arrogant and his habit is to show off and to boast. And it was said to a wise man, what is the one blessing that no one will envy anyone because of it? What is the one blessing that no one will envy anyone because of it? He replied, humility. Then it was said to him, what is the calamity that will ensure that no one will be merciful toward the person afflicted with it? He responded, arrogance. So the student of knowledge, the one who wishes to seek knowledge, should be aware from the light of these blameworthy characteristics, which Allah detests, as well as the believers. That arrogance, no one likes arrogance. No one likes someone who is arrogant and someone who shows off constantly. And so if you are a student of knowledge and you behave in this manner, you will prevent yourself from being able to benefit others. People will not take knowledge from you. If you behave when you are amongst the common Muslims, as if you are above them, always trying to correct them, always reprimanding them, always acting like they're wrong and they're always making mistakes, and you have nothing else to offer them except pointing out their faults, then no one will want to take knowledge from you. No one will want to take knowledge from you. Rather, you have to be merciful and advise with gentleness. The Prophet ﷺ, who was forgiven for all of his sins, and from the best of creation, the best individual to have walked this earth, period. That there was no one who was ever created that was better than the Messenger of Allah, ﷺ. And yet, when individuals would come to visit and were seeking out the Messenger of Allah, they would not know who he was from amongst his companions due to his humility. They could not know, they could not recognize who he was. He was not sitting above them. He was not wearing any type of clothing that made him distinct from anyone else. Rather, he was just like everyone else. So if anyone deserved that type of status above others, it would have been the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yet that was not the case. And that is the example that we take. That is who we follow. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if a person's soul, the student of knowledge, at times gets its waswas, these whispers from shaitan, that he should remember his destination and his journey's end. So this is how you repel these types of, especially when you are younger, this is when these things are more common. When you are in the beginning stages of your journey of seeking knowledge, when you see others also seeking knowledge around your age, and that there's this competition, and you find this one memorizing this much, and this one is busy with this, and you see others, and now there's this innate competition that exists in you. And that's the reality. Many students will not want to admit it, but this is the reality and the nature of the Sālih. That you wish to be better than others. You wish to compete with others, even if you don't say it, or make it apparent. And so if this happens to you now, that you wish that you are better than this individual, and that you have more than them in terms of knowledge, that you memorize more, they don't memorize as much as you, etc. These whispers from shaitan, then what you should remember is your end. After you die, where will you end up? That you remember death, that you remember that this life is temporary, and that you competing and you not wanting others to have khayr, that only you are the one who has it, that this will destroy you. If not in the hereafter, even in this life. Even in this life. And likewise, you should be humble and know that there are those who are even younger than you who are more knowledgeable than you. That there are others who have more understanding than you do. And this is a phenomenon that exists, the Shaykh mentions, whereby there are young youth who read a book or two and then they believe they are at the level of the ulama, that they can now compete with the scholars, and they can now debate with the scholars, and now they can point out the faults of the ulama. They are students, and in the beginning stages of their learning. For example, in Islamic universities, they're learning Arabic, they're learning Kana wa akhawatuha, and they're saying this scholar is this and that scholar is that. And this is, in reality, a proof of hirman, that this individual has been deprived, and that he is not on a path of guidance, the one who behaves in that way, and that they have been trialed. In reality, that is someone who is mubtala. That is someone who is trialed, and in a trial, and they're not even aware of that. The Shaykh says, in fact, they even belittle the scholars other than them, not to mention the students of knowledge and call us to Islam, as you just said. And they think that they have reached some lofty station that no one else has reached, which is apparent from their dress, their walk, and their speech. And we belong to Allah, and to Him we all return. How great is the harm they cause, and how little do they benefit. And how strong is their ignorance. And we seek Allah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide them to the straight path, the Shaykh says. And it is for them that I cite an important section by Ibn Jawzi, rahimahullah ta'ala, Shaykh Ibn Barjis says, wherein Ibn Jawzi, rahimahullah, says, most of the scholars and pious people have been criticized for hiding arrogance. Most of the scholars and pious people have been criticized for hiding arrogance. This person looks at his own state and that someone has been raised above him. And this person does not visit the sick or the poor, because he sees himself better than them. And there are very few that I have seen except that this is how they view themselves. And even more amazing than those who view themselves this way is why they view themselves in this way. If it was due to knowledge, then the scholars have preceded them. And if it was due to worship, then the pious worshippers have preceded them. So they behave in this haughty and arrogant way, yet they have not reached even the level of the ulama or the pious in terms of worship. Yet they believe they are better than others and they behave in that way. The seventh obstacle, as it pertains to the matters that prevent one from attaining beneficial knowledge, is rushing to produce results. Being hasty in attaining a particular goal. And from the mistakes that students of knowledge make, especially when they go to the Islamic universities, for example, and I'm from them, who made these mistakes. That when you go there, you put all this pressure on yourself that you are going to memorize this, and that you're going to do this, and that you're going to finish these many books, that you're going to attend these many durus, that you're going to spend all the time that you're there doing nothing else, having no other life, eating one meal a day, and attending all the durus possible. And then when you don't do that, you leave off everything, let alone all of those durus that you wish you wanted to do. You stop going to all the durus because you overwhelm yourself more than you're able to. And that is because the intention you have is the results. When you are seeking knowledge, you are not to look at the results themselves and seek knowledge for the results. Rather, you are to seek knowledge to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are to remember that this is an act of worship that you are in, and that the entire journey you are being rewarded for, and not simply the results that you attain at the end. The Shaykh says some students think that knowledge is up for grabs, or a significant portion that will immediately produce results and whose benefits will quickly become clear. So this person hopes in his heart after a year or so passes from his life in pursuit of knowledge, he will become a major scholar whose ambitions will not be matched and for whom there is no equal. They want to become Shaykh al-Islam overnight. They want to become Shaykh al-Islam overnight. The Shaykh says this idea is dangerous and it is a corrupt outlook to have and an empty ambition. Its harms are serious and its ill effects are great since it leads to consequences that are blameworthy, like speaking about Allah without knowledge and unjustifiable blind self-confidence and the love of higher positions and being given precedence. Because when your goal in seeking knowledge is to produce the results, then in reality what that shows is what your actual intentions are in terms of what you want from this knowledge. If your goal is the results, well then what you are seeking is what those results bring you. And that is positions, a salary maybe, fame, status, authority, dunya. These are the things that you are in reality seeking. And you delude yourself. You have this blind self-confidence in your abilities. And in reality, you are overestimating yourself. And Al-Ma'mun was correct when he said while scoffing at this type of student, the one who has this type of attitude, one of them learns hadith for 3 days and boasts that I am from the people of hadith, they said. And so the one who considers the condition of the Salaf sees amazing examples of their patience upon the unsavory aspects of attaining knowledge. Extended periods of seriousness, and they would not fabricate, fail, or become arrogant. Their distinct characteristic was knowledge is from birth until death, or knowledge is to take from the inkwell until the cemetery. This was their attitude, that knowledge ends when you die. Not that you have a goal in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, that you're going to attain a particular level, and then that's when your knowledge ends, when you've actually attained that result or that position or status. Imam Ibn Nadini rahimahullah, said, it was said to a Sha'bi, where did you get all of this knowledge? To this he replied, it came from rejecting complete reliance and traveling throughout the lands and observing patience like inanimate objects and being early like the crow. When he says it came from rejecting complete reliance, he means on the people, on the creation. And Imam Shafi'i said, rahimahullah, a man will not amount to anything in this affair, meaning knowledge, seeking knowledge, until he is harmed by poverty and prefers it over everything else. And today we want to be in our, AC on blast, sitting in comfortable rooms, while we choose when we want to seek knowledge, and other days we don't want to seek knowledge. We do it when we feel it. Yet we believe we can speak about the deen of Allah likewise. That these men suffered poverty, not having food to eat, traveling long journeys, months, just to attain a hadith or a benefit, and they reached where they were because of that patience. But for us, we do it in raha, in complete relaxation, and we wish to be like them or to be seen like them. And Ibn Hamza, rahimahullah, said, Yaqub ibn Sufyan, the Hafid, an Imam, said to me, I spent 30 years traveling in seeking knowledge. And Yahya ibn Abi Kathir said, knowledge cannot be acquired with a well-rested body, with raha. It cannot be attained with a well-rested body. And Ibn Haddad al-Malik said, the scholar, like the angels, has no bed. The scholar, like the angels, has no bed, meaning they do not sleep too much. And that is the reality, and what we witness from our ulama, that they rarely sleep. That if you have seen or you have been blessed with the opportunity to be able to spend days with some of the mashayikh and some of the ulama overnight, for example, you will see that they rarely sleep. And I've witnessed this from some of the mashayikh in my time in Saudi, that some of the mashayikh during journeys or times that we would be, for example, at istirahat, that we would go to sleep when he is doing research or writing or preparing for a lesson. And we would wake up in the middle of the night and see him in qiyam. If you go back to sleep, wake up again, and he's already getting ready for fajr. You wonder to yourself, did he even sleep the entire night? You wonder to yourself if he even slept the entire night. The eighth obstacle, as it pertains to the things that prevent you from benefiting from, or that prevent you in the path of seeking knowledge, is having low aspirations. Having low aspirations. And so the Shaykh says, we have seen from the ranks of some of the students of knowledge, people who possess great talents and have vast potential, intelligent individuals who understand the ulama and the material in a quick way or in a quick time period. And vast potential that positions them for academic leadership. However, the lowly nature of their aspirations nullifies their talents and removes the luster of their ingenuity, he says. So you might find them suffice themselves with very little information, and they dislike reading or researching issues and busy themselves with things other than seeking and acquiring knowledge. And this is a trial even more so in this time. In a time where there are so many more distractions than there were, even in the time period that the Shaykh himself is speaking about, which is about 20 years ago. 20 years ago, we did not have smartphones the way we do now. The internet was not as developed as it is now. The dunya in general was not as developed as it is now. And the distractions that are out there only are getting worse and worse and more. And so for the student of knowledge of today, what the hula hoops, or the hoops that they have to jump through in order to remain focused and in order to remain not distracted, are far greater than that which existed in the past. And so to be a strong and a good student of knowledge who does not busy himself and fall into these distractions is very difficult. It is a very difficult affair. And from the ways that you can help yourself in doing so is by keeping yourself around individuals that will aid you in doing that. That if you keep companionship that will busy you with things that distract you from seeking knowledge, then that is what will happen to you. However, if you keep yourself around students of knowledge that are serious and that will keep you firm and keep you serious, and when they see you fall, that they'll pull you back and remind you, let's go to the durus, the ones who remind you and say, wake up, let's go to the steps after Fajr, let's go and go to this lesson. There's a new lessoning and they send it to you, and there's a new lessoning opening up, let's go. Those who call you to khayr, these are the type of students that you should keep around you. Farra, rahimahullah, said, I have no sympathy for two types of men. A man who seeks knowledge without understanding it, and a man who understands it but doesn't seek it. Once again, I have no sympathy for two types of men. A man who seeks knowledge but doesn't understand, without understanding it. And a man who understands but doesn't seek it. Certainly, I am amazed by the one who involves himself in seeking knowledge but doesn't learn. And you find him in durus, you find him sitting in a lecture, you find him sitting in the durus of the mashayikh, yet this person is the same as he was 5 years later. Nothing has changed about the individual. They are the exact same as when they started. And Abu al-Farraj ibn al-Jawzi, rahimahullah, Abu al-Farraj ibn al-Jawzi, rahimahullah, said, commenting on the statement of Abu al-Tayyib al-Mutanabbi, he said, I do not see in the errors of people any error like the deficiency that prevents completeness in those who are able. And so Shaykh al-Barjis, rahimahullah, says, it is befitting for the one of sound mind to push himself to the limits of what is possible for him. So if it were possible for a human to ascend into the heavens, you would see that from the worst of imperfections is that he is pleased to remain on earth. Yani, anything that is possible, this person just chooses to do nothing or to not put any effort into attaining anything. And if prophethood could be acquired through individual effort and ijtihad, you would see the negligent one pursuing it from the lowest level, And the most impressive biography, according to the wise people, is when a soul seeks to achieve the highest level of completeness possible in terms of knowledge and action. He said, in general, no virtue should be left while it is possible to attain, except if it has already been achieved, since complacency is the condition of the vile and despicable. The Shaykh then says, so for the one who detects within himself and finds within himself the sign of genius and intellect, if you find in yourself that you are someone who grasps concepts quickly and that you have a good understanding when things are explained to you, he says, do not seek after anything else besides knowledge and do not busy yourself with anything but it. Embark on the journey of talab al-ilm and seeking knowledge. So if you refused and Allah caused you to die in a state where He caused there to be great reward for the Muslims with you, how severe would this loss be and how great would this calamity be? Meaning if you were someone who could have actually benefited the Ummah, you could have benefited many Muslims, yet you died in that state, you chose not to pursue this path, and how bad is that of a situation and how great of a calamity that is. The ninth and 10th obstacles. The ninth and 10th obstacle or 10th obstacles as it pertains to the matter that will prevent you from or act as deterrence and preventative matters on the path of knowledge is procrastination and longing. Procrastination and longing. Procrastination or taswif means delay, ta'khir, and defense. It is said he procrastinated if he said, I will do it. The mere fact that you say, I will do it, is proof that you've now procrastinated. Meaning your attitude should be now. I am doing it now, I will do it now. If you say about any affair, I will do it, that's it. You have now become a procrastinator. The term sleep or procrastination is used in relationship to aspirations, things that you want to do, things that you wish to accomplish. It is said so and so survives on sofa, and he sofa. I will and I will. Meaning that he lives on mere aspirations alone. He keeps telling himself that he will do it, he will do it. I'll do it on that day, I'll get to it, I will do it, I will look into it. But they never end up doing so. And longing, the 10th point, longing, tamanni, is what an individual whispers to himself regarding what will happen in the future and what will not. Meaning what is impossible. These longing for things that they will never attain. And it is said that it is the desire that is connected with the future. There's something that is in the future, you connect yourself to it, you long for that thing, but do nothing to attain it. You simply long and you simply keep it in your mind. And both procrastination and longing are two dangerous diseases that destroy the heart and time and carry an individual to the world of imagination. As for procrastination, then it is a characteristic that dulls the senses and eliminates concern. That if you know the importance of ilm, you know the importance of talab al-ilm and the benefit in this life and in the next, then you would not hesitate whatsoever. You would do it immediately. However, when you continuously procrastinate, that shows that you do not have any concern for that matter. Whenever an individual intends good, the good is obstructed by sofa. So you have a good intention. There's something good that you want to do. You want to seek knowledge. You want to give sadaqah. You want to go to Umrah. You want to go to Hajj. Right? You say, I will, inshallah. I will. I'm going to do it. I will do it. Right? That good thing that you intended to do is eliminated or obstructed by saying sofa. I will do it. And until he is overcome by death unexpectedly. Until he said, my Lord, if only you would give me respite for a little while. So it is upon the student of knowledge to rid himself of this deficiency, this type of attitude of, I will do it. You have a material to memorize, I will get to it. You have something that you have to read, I will get to it. You have something that you have to research, I will get to it. Having that type of attitude, when a lot of students, laziness, this procrastination, delaying things, the amount of time that you have aslan to seek knowledge is small. And so imagine you spend most of your time procrastinating. If from the day that you started seeking knowledge until however many years down the road, if all you've been doing is procrastinate, then how much knowledge will you have even attained in that time period? Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu used to say, when it is night, do not wait for the morning. And if it is morning, do not wait for the night. And take from your times of health in anticipation of sickness and benefit from your life in anticipation of death. And Ibn Jawzi rahimahullah said, and whoever contemplates in his mind the mention of paradise, wherein there is no death or disease or sleep or grief, rather its pleasures are continual without ending, whoever contemplates this increases in those things which correspond with the increase in diligence in this world taken from his time. So what this means is that the one who has Jannah on his mind constantly and wishing to attain Jannah, and that is the thing that they anticipate, and that is the thing that they want, they will start to do the actions that will help them in attaining that. Meaning they will put concern now in doing everything possible to attain Jannah. So one should not sleep more than necessary. And a person should not neglect a single moment from his life. every single breath you take will be important to you, if that is your goal. And likewise, your time as a student of knowledge. Your time is precious. So you will not waste it with things that are futile or things that are a waste of time if you are a true student of knowledge and you wish to be a true student of knowledge. That your time will be more than anything to you. The time that you have will be like your flesh and blood. As for longing and tamanni, then it consists of both praiseworthy and blameworthy longing. So there are two types of longing. As for the praiseworthy longing, then this occurs when an individual wishes to do a recommended act of good, but is unable to. So something that is recommended, mustahab, that is khayr, but they are unable to do so. For this type of longing, there are three conditions. Number one is a firm intention to do the action as soon as the individual is able. So there's something good that you wish to do, but due to circumstance, you're not able to do it. The first condition with regards to the one whose condition is that, or that's the state that they're in, the first condition is that they have a firm intention to do it as soon as they are able to do it. The second one is the fact that the action is from the things that are legislated in Islam, like the desire to build a mosque, for example, a masjid, and whatever else is similar to this. So that it should be from the things that are legislated and that are good. The third condition is that the action is not from the regular habits of an individual. That the thing that you are longing for, this recommended thing, that it should not be something that is already a habit for you. If it is already a habit for you, then you do it. That is not something that you procrastinate and that you delay. And as for the blameworthy type of longing, or tamanni, then Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said about it in his explanation of the speech of Abu Ismail al-Harawi. He said regarding the corruptors of the heart, when he said, the second corrupter from the corruptors of the heart is riding the sea of longing, tamanni, which is a sea without a shore. And it is the sea which is traveled by the utterly bankrupt of the world, as it is said in those lines of poetry, if I were to long, I would have spent the night in bliss. Surely longing is the currency of those who are bankrupt. And the belongings of these travelers are the devil's appointments and impossible fantasies and falsehood, Ibn al-Qayyim says. So the waves of misplaced hope and baseless fantasies play with the travelers of the sea, just as the dog plays with dead animals. And it is the belonging of every despicable, vile, and lowly soul. There is no ambition in it that can be realized externally. Instead, longing is substituted as a lowly conciliation. He said, so the one who longs for something chases an image in his head and prevailed when it was realized and enjoyed celebrating it. And all the while he was in this state, he awakened to the reality that his hand was grasping the mat. All of that Ibn al-Qayyim just said, it was an illusion, basically. It was as if he was dreaming. So that is the idea of the one who is longing, that has tamanni. The one who has tamanni is as if he is just living in a dream world and in imagination. Shaykh Ibn Barjis rahimahullah ta'ala then said, so the student should stay far from this sickness and beware of becoming afflicted by it, since it is like a deadly cancer that only few can survive. This is the disease of procrastination and the disease of tamanni. So how many from those knocked down do not recover from their unconsciousness and do not break free from their shackles? And Allah's refuge is sought from this. May Allah busy us with righteous deeds in the place of false aspirations and useless fantasies and daydreams that waste time and eliminate deeds from the scale. Subhanallah. And the poet said, you wished to become a jurist able to argue without difficulty, certainly craziness is of different types. Certainly craziness is of different types. So that concludes the 10 obstacles as it pertains to the matter of knowledge, matters that hinder us and prevent us from seeking knowledge. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect all of us from these obstructive matters, and that He open the door for all of us of beneficial knowledge, and that He guide us to act upon the good of that which we learn, and that we teach the best of that which we learn, and that we act upon it first and foremost ourselves. We'll conclude with that, inshallah ta'ala. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.